Welcome to CS Silver School, where we teach you how to get out of silver on your own merit. There are two ways of getting out of silver. Option 1, have a higher skilled friends carry you out. Option 2, do it yourself. While option 1 is easier, you will be out of silver, but you will still suck at the game. Option 2 will require more effort, but you will find it easier to handle yourself in your new Nova skill group. I, the Brainiac, will teach you the skills to get out of silver in 2020, having only recently done it myself. Wait a minute, so I'm not a pro? Definitely not, and here is why that is a good thing for you. First of all, pros haven't been a silver for quite some time, and getting out of silver today is a lot different than it was 5 years ago. Go take a look at any CSGO gameplay videos from 5 years ago and you will see that the average silver today is better than 5 years ago. Why? Because of the availability of information. Suddenly you have silvers that know about things like crosshair placement, basic utility usage, a tricky boost spot or two, and understand a bit about spray control, etc. That is why you need a more modern approach than simply to work on your aim. Second, what a lot of pro players don't understand is that we do not all have 4 to 8 hours per day to play CSGO, so telling us to play more or go kill 10,000 bots every day for 2 weeks or play 3 hours of pistol deathmatch headshot only is not valuable advice to us average Joes. No offense to Joe. Last but not least, the pros have forgotten. They have forgotten what it is not to know how to aim. They have forgotten that crosshair placement was not always second nature to them. They have forgotten the challenge of not knowing what a spot on the map is called while trying to explain it to your teammates. They have forgotten the feeling of throwing that intense flashbang, only to blind yourself. And lastly, they have forgotten what it feels like to have teammates who suck as well. But Brainiac, you can't tell me I suck at the game? Well, if you are still in silver, you do suck, but that's a good thing, because when you know nothing, everything you learn will improve your skill greatly. So you have a lot of things you can do to improve your game, which is better than when you have already tried everything and still suck afterwards. So let's get into it. Let's just get some background straight. The people who only yell at you to work on your aim or to play more to get good are 1. Not very nice people, and 2. Not giving you good advice. You see, aim in CSGO is not only affected by things like movement inaccuracy, weapon recoil and spray pattern variance, but consists of multiple elements like point and click speed, or otherwise known as muscle memory, crosshair placement and map knowledge. Let me explain. If you shoot like this, you have bad point and click precision. If you shoot like this, you have bad crosshair placement. If you shoot like this, you have bad map knowledge, because good map knowledge would have told you to clear that corner. When you combine all 3 these elements, that is when you get very effective at shooting down an enemy, or the more technical term, your time to kill gets better.
The following training routine is the one I use to get out of silver. Results may vary based upon time invested. However, please note that various forms of experimentation has provided evidence that it is of a greater benefit to practice 30 minutes every day than to slug away and do 90 minutes only 2 times a week. However, we do understand that not everybody has tons of time on their hands and do carry certain IRL responsibilities. This guide was designed with that in mind. However, try to work around the time you have available and bear in mind that the training is broken up into 2 sections, so you can maybe train 30 minutes in the morning and the rest in the afternoon. Embrace the grind.
Step 1. Grab your rifle of the day. I would suggest practicing one day with a T-sided weapon and the next with a CT-sided weapon. I preferred AK and M4 as you have higher chance of picking them up, but feel free to choose your weapon of choice. Step 2. Level the playing field. I like to close off the side with the control panel as it looks really neat. Try and bring it a bit closer by closing in these sides, because in silver you won't be having too many battles over a long range, and nobody really shoots accurately over that far range in silver, unless they have a AWP. And lastly, bringing it a bit closer makes it a wee bit easier, and you are here to get good, not get demotivated. Quick aside. The bulk of the first 30 minutes was inspired by a video of a guy explaining it a lot better than I do, but I can't find it anymore. So if it looks familiar, please leave a comment with the video in the link, as we would really like to place the credit where it is due.
Quick aside over.
Let's get back into it. Step 3. The settings. 250 bots because it's good for you. Add some uneven ground for some extra spice and to not be a total noob. Chop that armor pepper to yellow so that headshots hurt. Bullet holes are bad for you. Not only can they lead to a loss of life, but they include the blood spatters on the wall, which can cause some confusion when it comes to visually acquiring a target. That means confusing the blood spatter for a bot. Disabling the bullet holes will leave the gory effects and the violence, but keep the place tidy. Shoot the square, shoot the bigger square, and use this little slot icon to lock away the guns, giving you a cleaner field of view. You need to see the bots to shoot the bots, Bob. No offense to Bob. Shoot the play button to give you a timer so that you can keep an eye on that clock and track your progress. The first part of your aiming that we are going to work on is the final part of the aim, also known as minor crosshair adjustment. The purpose of this is to teach your brain to bring the crosshair, the final segment, from close to the target onto the target. This tiny little movement may seem trivial, but it can cost you kills. Keep in mind that the purpose of this part of the routine is training precision and not speed, so make certain to shoot them in the head. Headshots, one taps. This should take you between 5 and 7 minutes depending on your current lack of skill. The next part of the routine is to kill 250 bots, but to focus this time on speed. However, let me qualify that by saying not the speed at which you kill the bots, but the speed at which you can move your crosshair between the targets. From the head of the first target to the head of the next. The time between the bots is what you want to speed up. In the beginning especially, it's gonna be a bit harder to hit the bots. So if you miss, don't sweat it. Nobody is watching and this is training. This will take between 5 and 7 minutes depending on your lack of skill. Just kidding, I'm one of you. Apologies, I got a bit carried away there. The next 250 bots will be practicing something I like to call trigger timing. Trigger timing can be explained as the correct time to pull the trigger. As you will sometimes be eager to hit the enemy when you are still busy closing the distance between the crosshair and the target, the recoil will sometimes cause you to miss. Damn M4 with good recoil. Let's scrap that from the video and get a gun with good recoil. As I was saying, while you are busy closing the distance between your crosshair and the target, even if your horizontal trajectory is good, the recoil will make the weapon to pull up and miss the target. It's not bad aim, it's bad trigger timing. So because of different recoil on different weapons, you want to practice pulling the trigger at the last second, ensuring good shots across the board with all weapons. So for the next 250 bots, let me grab my M4 again. For the next part, you want to move your crosshair in a horizontal line across the bots. If you pass the head of a bot, don't flick back to him, but continue on towards the next bot. Do this practice all the way around to the left. If you miss a bot, don't flick back, but continue on left, because the focus of this exercise is to only try and hit the bot if you close the distance correctly and have the timing down. Then do it to the right. If you miss, keep on going to the right, and keep going till you reach the end of the arena, and then return to the left. Do this until you kill 250 bots. Okay, for the last part of the practice, restart the arena to clean up your mess. Close off all the sections but one. Come to the very friendly and easy to use control panel. Put the recipe back in. 100 bots to give you some good measurement. Uneven ground for some good aim. Yellow pepper armor to spice it up and leave the bullet holes. You are now ready for action. Press the play button to get the timer going. Use the slot to hide the control panel from accidental misfires. Come to the shooting gallery and kill 100 bots as fast as you can. Repeat this 5 times. In this challenge, I would suggest writing down your best time every time so that you have some way to measure your improvement. Don't get discouraged if your time is bad in the beginning. I know guys who started off with an average time of 1:47 who managed to bring it down to 55 seconds within 2 weeks. Practice is there to get better. Time for some moving targets, because your opponents will run around too. So you will load up this reflex training map, link in the description below if you don't have it. Reselect your training weapon of the day. All the rest of the settings you can basically leave as they are for silver training, but feel free to play around and see what they do. As for training, just go around practicing your headshot on these guys with their insane amount of stamina. They never stop running. Kill 250 with your rifle of the day, and also add 250 with your matching starter pistol, as this will really increase your accuracy. This whole section is really fun and shouldn't take too long. Worst case scenario would be around 20 minutes. The last section starts with some homework first on this extra cool Recoil Master training map. Link to the map in the description below. This map was made by the same guy who made aimbot, so thanks a lot for your effort, man. Let's get back to it. So this little green dot will show you the pattern you need to follow to completely spray the entire magazine of your selected weapon. The screen at the top gives you a playback of the pattern you should follow. For our purposes, you only need to roughly learn the pattern. It doesn't have to be perfect yet. There are some other settings to play with. Check them out at your own risk and at your own leisure. But for now, just come here to more or less know the spray pattern of your desired weapon. Speaking about weapons, this is where you swap them. And this little green dot and the screen at the top will update automatically to your selected weapon. Pretty cool. Now that you know more or less the pattern that your weapon sprays at, it is time for some extra credit. This training is a bit more rigorous than the first two sections and the techniques are not that relevant yet to silver. But since you will definitely start needing them from, I'd say, around Nova 2 and up, it is good to start practicing them ahead of time, as they will take a bit longer to master. First of all, set up your arena as if you're going for the 100 kills challenge in section 1. So close down 3 parts, set the other to force spacing and shoot the squares to give you some extra visibility. Put in the well-known recipe by now: uneven ground, yellow pepper armor, and leave the bullet holes. After this, grab your rifle and shoot that play button to tell the timekeeper to get ready. Shoot the lock to give you a clear field of view. Now, find a guy like this surrounded by friends, but don't shoot him. Flick to his friends really quickly and go for them headshots. Important discipline to keep for this training is to flick one to the left and then one to the right. This will be hard in the beginning and will take some time, but you will need this type of aim at higher skill levels. Remember, if you miss, this is training and no one is watching, so use this time to get good. Kill your 100 bots, write down your time and do it again, and then move on to the last part of your aim training. For the last part of your training, open up the arena as shown. Quickly kill some of the bots left in the shooting gallery just to have them spawn in different locations around you. Now we get back to the homework. Choose a weapon with a familiar spray pattern, and for this it is important that you put the following command into your console, as this will change your ammo to unlimited reloads but limited rounds in a magazine, to give you that all in-game realism for training. Now, as for the training part, go ahead and do a quick 100 kills of single bot spray downs, just to get that reflex down as well. Then, for the real training, go over to 250 bots spray transfers. In the beginning, it might be a bit difficult, but you'll soon get the hang of it. This will really come in handy to showboat to your friends and get those awesome double frags. Oh yeah! As a quick aside, when practicing your aim, it will be irresponsible of me not to mention the impact of a correct mouse sensitivity. There are many guides out there, and we will leave some links in the description below for you to go sort it out. If you are still a silver, now would be a good time to experiment with it, as there is not too much history of previous muscle memory to mess up. Personally, I have found a lower sensitivity to be better, but please note that I'm not a professional and you are advised to consult an expert if you want to know more on this topic. That's it for the aim routine, guys. I really hope this helps you. Feel free to leave a comment with your experiments from implementing this routine, and keep your eyes open for the next video where we will go over the specifics for practicing and measuring your crosshair placement and map knowledge. Click that subscribe button and that bell to get it in your inbox. Keep in mind that we have created this channel to help the average player improve, and therefore we will stick to training regimens which is less rigorous and does not require tons of hours at a time. If you feel that you have a better training routine which does not involve killing 25,000 bots a day, feel free to leave it in a comment below. Also be aware that we have another series going on the channel where we ask you to give us advice on how to improve from our current rank to the next one, and where we will try out different people's approaches and give you feedback, a place where you are the teacher and we the willing student.